Hello, my name is Rosalind Vitito. I did my author presentation board on Stan and Jan Berenstain, the authors and illustrators of the Berenstain Bears. Stanley Berenstain and Janice Grant both were born in 1923 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They met at the age of 18 while attending the Philadelphia Museum School of Industrial Arts. They were married in 1946 after serving in World War II. They began a cartoonist team for several magazines, i.e. the Saturday Evening Post, Collier's Magazine, McCall's, and Good Housekeeping, focusing on humor about families and children. The start of their own family came with the birth of their son Leo in 1948, then Mike in 1951. Since both sons were big Dr. Seuss fans, Stan and Jan decided to try their hands at creating a children's book themselves. Their first book, The Big Honey Hunt, included the characters of Papa, Mama, and Small Bear. It was published in 1962 by Dr. Seuss, Ted Geisel. Small Bear became Brother Bear in 1974 with the birth of Sister. The names Papa, Mama, Brother, and Sister were chosen for ease of reading and to emphasize the archetypical roles in the family. Total sales of the Berenstain Bears books have topped more than 250 million. Stan and Jan continued their work until the 1980s as magazine cartoonists, along with their children's book creation. Their son Mike became a children's book author and illustrator in the 1970s and joined his parents in their magazine work in the 1980s and moved to illustrating and co-authoring Berenstain Bear books in 1992. They lived and worked in the rolling countryside of eastern Pennsylvania, an area that looks a lot like Bear Country. The first animated TV show, an NBC Christmas special, was produced in 1979. 4 other NBC seasonal specials followed in the early 80s. 2 seasons of Saturday morning animated cartoons followed on CBS in 1985 and 86, and a season of PBS daily shows was created in 2002. Shortly before his father's death, Mike suggested to Stan and Jan that they create a new subline of Berenstain Bears books on spiritual themes while continuing to publish their traditional storybooks. They co-created the first 4 titles in the ongoing Living Light series, which were published after Stan's death in 2005. Jan and Mike continued to write and illustrate Berenstain Bear books together on all sorts of subjects, everything from going for a ride on the train to the Golden Rule, until her death in February 2012. Here in the middle we have books. Here we have them meeting, a cartoon of them meeting Dr. Seuss, their first book that was published, The Big Honey Hunt. Then we have The New Baby, Too Much TV, Show God, The Berenstain Bears, Show God's Love, The Berenstain Bears and Too Much Junk Food, The Berenstain Bears Visit the Dentist, The Berenstain Bears Lose a Friend, and The Berenstain Bears Learn About Strangers. All of their books concentrated on things that children would actually encounter as they were growing up, and it showed how that they could deal with them. And I like that part of their stories. And that's the end of my presentation.